Good evening, 7 o'clock. Welcome to the show. So today we're going to just kind of dive into, unpacking the fear of home ownership, from keys, I'm sorry, from pre-approval to keys, right? So I want to welcome you guys all. I'm your host, Chance McQueen. Welcome to Mortgage in a Minute, the podcast where we break down the myths, fears, and realities of home ownership of all ages. Today we're tackling a big topic, and the topic is fear of the unknown, whether it's fear of debt, fear of commitment. We're going to unpack it all. Give you the tools to feel confident about, taking the next steps. So let's dive in. Let's start with, the big one, fear of debt. For many people, the idea of taking on a mortgage, a loan that could span 15, 20, or even 30 years, it can feel overwhelming. And I get it. Debt can be scary. But here's the thing, not all debt is created equal. A mortgage is what we call good debt. Why? Because you're investing in an asset that historically appreciates over time. Unlike credit card debt or car loans, a mortgage is a tool that builds wealth. Now, I'm not saying you should jump into a mortgage without understanding the numbers. That's where I come in. As a loan officer, my job is to help you understand exactly what you can afford and what your monthly payments will look like and how to budget for them, right? The key is to approach this fear with knowledge, not avoidance. Next up, we're going to talk about the fear of commitment. Buying a home is a big decision, and it's natural to, feel nervous about locking yourself into a long-term financial obligation. But let's reframe this fear. Um, Instead of thinking of it as a forever decision, think of it as a stepping stone. Most people don't stay in their homes forever. The average homeowner moves every 7 to 10 years. Your first home doesn't have to be your dream home, it just needs to be the right home for you right now. And if your circumstances change, you can always sell or refinance. The key is to focus on what makes sense for your life today, not what might happen 20 years down the road. Now, finally, let's talk a little bit about the fear of the unknown. The home buying process can feel like a black box full of jargons, paperwork, unexpected surprises. But here's the good news, you don't have to figure it out alone. As a loan officer, I'm here to guide you through every step of the process from pre approval to closing. Think of me as your translator, breaking down complex terms and helping you understand exactly what's happening. And remember, there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you feel unsure about something, ask. The more you know, the less scary the process becomes. Now, let's shift gears a little bit, right? Let's talk about some success stories. I've worked with so many clients who started out terrified of home ownership, but ended up thriving as homeowners. Take Sarah, for example. She was a first time homebuyer who was convinced she'd never qualify for a mortgage. After sitting down and going over her finances, we realized she was in much better position than she thought. Fast forward a year, and she's now living in her dream home, building equity, and feeling more financially secure than ever. Stories like Sarah's remind me why I love what I do. Homeownership isn't just about buying a home, it's about creating stability, building wealth, and achieving your goals. All right, let's wrap this up with some actionable tips for overcoming fear of homeownership. Number one, educate yourself. Knowledge is power. Take the time to learn about the home buying process, mortgage options, and your financial situation. Work with a trusted professional to find a loan officer and a real estate agent who take the time to explain things clearly and make you feel comfortable. Sometimes the first realtor may not be your forever realtor to take you to the finish line. That happens in some cases. So, and the same goes for a loan officer as well. I can't say I've finished every transaction that I've started, but I know that I work very, very hard for my clients and I'm here for them 24/7. And that's how I became as successful as I am. Now, number four, focus on the benefits. Remember, homeownership is an investment in your future. It's not just a place to live, it's a way to build wealth and create stability. And most importantly, don't let fear hold you back. You've got this. And, start small. Feeling overwhelmed, overwhelmed, start by getting pre-approved. It's a no obligation way to see where you stand and what you can afford. I don't even call it a pre-approval. I call it an assessment because, at the end of the day, it's not that you won't qualify. It's how much you're going to qualify for based on the government parameters, right? And in some cases, if you do have a credit issue, then we can work with you, my team and I, to set you up for success, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, or a year down the road. Now, I want to thank you for tuning into this episode of the Mortgage in a Minute. If you found this conversation helpful, share it with your friends who might be feeling the same way. And if you're ready to take the next step towards homeownership, I'd love to help. You can reach me at cmcqueen@anniemac.com. Until next time, remember, the journey to homeownership doesn't have to be scary. It can be very empowering. See you next time.